I noticed something and I wrote this about it. I remember the deli first as a shape, a small corner room, 5 round tables by the windows. The door on my left opening onto one street and the door on my right opening up to a different street. I was around 13 years old. I was sitting at one of the tables with a can of pop. 2 of my friends stood 10 feet in front of me, backs turned, playing a stand-up video game. It was a game that we could only play as an arcade game because they didn't have a home video game edition of it yet. I was watching them without really watching it, waiting to play the winner, letting time pass in a way it does when you're young and there's nothing on your mind. Then a man came from my left. I didn't see him enter the room. I only noticed him when he was already there, 2 steps away, close enough that the space between us suddenly felt filled. He hadn't been eating there, I'm sure of that. If he had, I would have noticed him earlier. He didn't sit, he didn't pause. In one continuous motion, he held out a business card. You know that moment when your eyes go to the object before your mind knows why? I took it because it was there. There were 3 words typed on it, black ink on white business card: deaf, dumb, mute. I remember reading them slowly and then again, like they needed time to arrange themselves. Dumb felt more moving than the others. It still does. I was trying to understand whether the card was introducing himself this way or asking a question of me. He flipped the card over in my hand. "Give me $1, the other side said. He held out the palm of his hand. I looked over at my friends. They were still leaning into the game, shoulders shifting, absorbing in whatever was happening on the screen. I took another quick look at the workers at the deli counter, and they didn't seem to register that what was happening at my table either. Everything else in the room stayed where it was. I reached into my pocket and pulled out $1 and placed it in his hand. He took it and with the same motion took the card back from me. No nod and with no expression on his face. He turned and walked out the door to my right, the door he hadn't come in through. My attention came back to the room and waiting on my turn for the video game. I remember telling my friends right away, but waited for them to finish the game. I said, "There was this guy." I said, "He handed me a card." I said what it said on the front, and then I gave him $1. They didn't believe me. They looked at me like I was making up a story, or maybe I didn't want to pay for the next game. The feeling I got from what had just happened didn't move from my body into theirs. After that, there wasn't much to say. Over the years, I've brought this event up with people I know. I've tried different explanations. All of them still are empty. Maybe he was deaf. Maybe he was mute. But who calls themselves dumb? Maybe it was a con. That seems possible. Maybe it was something practiced, something repeated often enough that it was easy money for him. Some people say it could have been an experiment. A college town, a kid at a table, $1 changing hands. I could see that. None of it changes the feel of it. What stays is the speed, the way the moment arrived without warning and left without explanation. The way I went along with it and neither one of us spoke a word. The way the room returned as if nothing had passed through it. We like stories to finish themselves, to turn into lessons or warnings of clarity. This one doesn't. It just remains a small corner room I can still walk into in my mind. Even now, when I talk about this experience, which is rare, I notice a kind of emptiness afterwards with the person I tell it to. Not sadness exactly, more like a space where something should have landed and it didn't. Maybe that's what I'm still noticing. Not the man, not the dollar, but the quiet after, the way some moments pass through us and don't find anywhere to rest. They don't ask to be understood. They just sit there, a small deli in my mind, one door to the left, another to the right, a video game being played by my friends, and an explanation that I will never get.